Welcome back to the Ninth Gym program, and today we're going to be talking about Series 10 stuff. We're going to be doing first impressions, and we have a special guest today, DragonairJordan. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Jordan, or Elijah. You can call me Jordan. You, and yeah, oh
Not going to lie, I thought your name was Jordan.
yeah, my
Makes
my
sense.
actual name is my actual name's Elijah, but I have like a screen name. And Dragonair Jordan 23 was like that was it's a fire gamer tag, so I wanted
Yeah.
to snatch that as soon as possible.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a very good screen name. All right, so
Mm.
we're going to be talking about some Series 10 stuff today, some strats and some early game, things we're going to be expecting, stuff like that. So I guess let's go ahead and review the tournaments that we've seen so far. The one, obviously you're very familiar with one of them, being, you got fifth, but I have that pulled up. It's kind of small on my screen, but I think it's fine probably. Center it a little bit better. So yeah, we've got a lot of Zacian, Kyogre, and Xerneas. As far as the restricted picks have been, it seems pretty much like what everybody was expecting for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. Setup and like it's worth noting here some of the more hidden pieces other than like of course like instant Rillaboom being on every team
Of
are
course.
uh there's some really good defensive typings there. Like if you look at Swampert, you look at Corviknight, you look at Zacian, of course, Landorus, Thundurus, Amoonguss. People are playing with like a more defensive, even Celesteela is there as well.
Right.
People are playing with a more defensive style and or more defensive Pokemon with offensive capabilities. I think that
Mm-hmm.
makes any sense.
Right. We're seeing back into a non-Dynamax format. Of course, like there's not as much just offense pressure like right off the bat. Obviously you don't have your just like turn one Dynamax, your airstreams and stuff. So a lot more like defensive play, switching play, protect. A lot of that is going to be more so in the meta. We don't have anything like the Z crystals or Dynamax moves to hit through protect. So protect actually feels like you're protecting. I mean, except for like Urshifu, which is a dumb
Yeah,
Pokemon in its own for this format. A very stupid Pokemon.
for sure. The dark one feels broken. The water one is a little bit more manageable,
Mm-hmm.
just because of the fact that Rillaboom is on every team, and
Right.
Rillaboom is a legendary in itself. Uh, so you definitely gonna want to have it on every team. Like it doesn't feel bad.
Yeah. Rillaboom's a very solid go-to. Same with Incineroar. Just like a very good core in the back, so you can like just support your initial duo, or even like, whatever kind of team strat you have going on. Pokemon like
Interesting
that is
enough,
incredibly good.
yeah. Interesting enough, I didn't bring Incineroar because I thought there would be more anti-intimidate. It ended up winning the tournament. I don't think I ever played Be Smithy
Mm-hmm.
in the whole tournament, but like um I never I thought there would be way more anti-intimidate, way more Kyogre, but Zacian reigns supreme as it always does.
Yeah.
And yeah, Corviknight helped out with a lot of matches. I think every match that I lost was because I didn't bring Corviknight.
Honestly, yeah, the Corviknight, I was like thinking about it and watching your game, and it was like, yeah, Corviknight definitely seems like it puts in a lot of work. Getting those Intimidates laid back down onto their Incineroar and Lando. And a lot of teams, their best way of dealing with Corviknight is Incineroar. And being able to like just intimidate, reflect that right back to them, it's really, really rough, like dealing with Corviknight.
Yeah, and a little bit more insight into my team. It was Grassy Seed Corviknight, so it was supposed to sit on the field and just roost back up.
Mm-hmm.
And Flare Blitz was a 4-hit KO onto it. So
Yeah,
uh
that's crazy.
and then I have Rain as well. So like it's just became to the point where if unless they had Volcarona or some other way to hit Corviknight, like it wasn't leaving the field.
Mm-hmm. Volcarona seems very, very strong in this format.
Volcarona is definitely underrated. I saw it firsthand with Joe. Joe's all of Joe's picks were really really solid. He also used a Rocky Helmet defensive Landorus,
Mm-hmm.
and it put in a lot of work, and he brought it to Wall, the specific Pokemon that I brought. I don't think he brought it to any other match, he said. But it was really important in like Rillaboom's not able to Grassy Glide to deal with it because most people's checks to ground types are the Rillaboom.
Mm-hmm.
Uh because it's at -1 and with the Rocky Helmet, there's so much deterring you from doing so. And like I think I Grassy glided into it 4 times because I needed to, and just that chip alone with combination from like another attack just got rid of my Rillaboom, which I needed to deal with Aleki and some of the other Pokemon on this team.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about like multiple like fake outs on the team? Like not only, I mean, obviously we have Rillaboom, Incineroar, but fake out is insane in non-Dynamax formats. Obviously, a lot of new players. There's a lot of players started in Sword and Shield, so they don't really know like the true power of fake out. It feels like at least, and fake out is just stupid. And having like that option, like I'm trying to figure out how I'm trying to word this. I feel like dual fake out is just incredibly strong in this format. And I mean, we've already known that with Rillaboom and Incineroar, but there's a lot of other really, really good picks. I mean, even things like Gothitelle have it. Indeedee, which is a really weird pick because it like turns fake out off on its own. And then things like Hitmontop and stuff like that are just incredibly powerful with fake out. And stopping these like early setups and stuff with fake out is like crazy powerful, like Volcarona and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I started playing in Sword and Shield as well, so fake out has always been something like, uh, do I really need Incineroar because
Mm-hmm.
they're just gonna Dynamax on me? Should I really lead it, or should I bring it in the end game and just it feels so strong in the end games in Sword and Shield. I do want to say that.
Oh,
So
especially
I
after like if they turn one Dynamax, you have that mid
yeah,
game, late game. It's crazy.
you can shut them down because most of these Dynamax Pokemon just want to Dynamax, pick up 3 KOs and win. But
Mm-hmm.
like, if you can deal with their damage afterwards and shut that down, it's amazing. So it makes a lot of sense that it's been really good and it is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Super good defensive typing. Um, I think Zer if you're gonna want to run I think okay, so I do want to say I think the strongest after playing with all of the legendaries on Showdown and stuff like that, I think the most consistent pairing is the Xerneas plus Incin.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, that
it,
was
it's
VGC 2018, 2019 to a T. Like, it's just
yeah,
so dumb. And we don't even have primals anymore. Like, we don't have primal Kyogre, primal Groudon, or anything. So Xerneas just feels incredibly strong in this format.
for sure. I've been running Draining Kiss Zern just to heal all the way back up. Moonblast is definitely way more powerful, and I do feel like missing
Mm.
Moonblast, but Draining Kiss
Dazzling
being
Gleam
able
is
to
stupid, too.
yeah, as long as you can hit that Dazzling Gleam, and if you think a wide guard is coming, you can
Mm-hmm.
always just OHKO their wide guard user because most of them are fighting types
Mm-hmm.
with Draining Kiss.
We do have
Um,
Celesteela, though, which is a very, very powerful wide guard user.
Celesteela is a great check to Xerneas. Yeah, for sure. I think that's also something that I had a little bit of a problem with in one of my matches. I did win against Marco twice. Once in the original Swiss and then once in the finals. I eked a win. I think it was like it was really close. It came down to a 50-50 plus a double protect.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went for that win con and I was able to get it. Um so I that's one weakness of this is always a weakness of Rain is dealing with opposing Celesteela, but Corviknight
Right.
put in a lot of work in Kyogre just blasting through anything
Mm-hmm.
that's neutral to water is also super helpful.
What kind of Kyogre did you use? Like Choice Scarf or?
Lefties, which is
Okay.
really interesting. It was a Scald, Water Spout, Ice Beam, Protect set. So
Mm-hmm.
it's with grassy terrain plus lefties, you're healing 1/8 of your health every turn.
Mm-hmm.
And with Corviknight sitting on the field with Tailwind up, you pretty much just maybe protect that first turn and Brave Bird into the Rillaboom slot that you know is inevitably coming in because those switches are like when playing with Kyogre, you know their grass type's coming in. Otherwise, they're gonna lose 2 Mons. So
Right.
uh, it's pretty easy to make that call.
Yeah, you definitely have to deal with Rillaboom like really, really well with on a Kyogre team, and having something like the Corviknight is seems like an incredibly good way to deal with that.
Yeah, especially it was an interaction that came up a lot, but I it didn't make it specifically for this, but it was pretty cool that it did. Um, because Grassy Seed activates, they can't click knockoff onto you, which would be their most powerful attack.
Mm-hmm.
So their choices are Grass move or Bug move, which you quad resist both. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you quad resist both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen. I mean, even if it uses techs, like other tech moves like superpower or high horsepower, none of that deals with that either. So like, yeah, it's a very good check to Rillaboom.
Mhm.
I've seen. I've been using. The only team that I've created so far was the top ogre team that I was talking about earlier. But I was using quick guard on the Hitmontop, and that was like crazy. No, like it's so hard to beat it. Like nobody's using Woodhammer or anything on the Rillaboom, so it's just like having quick guard, having access to wide guard and quick guard. Hitmontop is an incredibly strong Pokemon this format, in my opinion.
100%. Quick
And
Guard,
Fake
I've
Out.
lost to it a couple times. Now, especially using a Kyogre team with only one Fake Out user, and the Fake Out user is Rillaboom. Wide Guard is, Quick Guard is kind of really good at against me.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's definitely something to look out for, and it's more useful in best of one for like definitely on the ladder. I'm expecting to see a lot of quick guard.
Yeah,
Um,
because there's no
but
adaptations to make or adaptations to make.
yeah, for sure. And Scarf Pokemon and speed control is going to be super important as well.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
feel.
I'm sure nobody's surprised to see like Tornogre teams all over the place. Surprisingly enough, there were none in this. I mean, there was the Whimsicott Kyogre, and then obviously you have Corviknight, but that's not really like a prankster, um, Tailwind user.
Yeah, I've run into some Torn or good teams that do feel good, but Torn just kind of feels like it's sitting there. I feel like it needs a life orb or like something, even something that it used to have on Dynamax teams, like life orb, safety goggles, just something to be better in a certain matchup because uh like Tornadus, you don't want to be bringing it like it doesn't feel great into certain matchups other than just setting up Tailwind.
Right, it's just a Tailwind button, and when you just set up Tailwind, but like lose a Pokemon to set up Tailwind, you lose in that late game. And without Dynamax, there's a lot more like defensive play to be made. You have a lot more like easy defensive switching. You don't have to worry about giant Dynamax damage, and you have Fake Out at your disposal. So stalling these Tailwind turns is actually a lot easier now than it
100%.
was.
It's a lot more important.
Yeah. I'm really sad we lost Tailwind as that move to move because I loved like Kartana with Tailwind, like a defensive Kartana and like defensive Zapdos. Kind of similar to how you used Corviknight, but obviously without the anti-intimidate. But you have Roost, Tailwind, bulky Zapdos. That was incredibly strong. And one of my favorite ways to play Zapdos ever. And now we lost Tailwind. I feel like we're losing so many Tailwind users this format, or like I guess going into 2020. And that's a really big hit because speed control is very, very important, and losing that airstream, that's was definitely one of the most common ways of speed control in most teams, previous formats of 2020. So I'm really curious to see what kind of speed control things people are doing. I've been seeing a little bit of like prankster Thunderous with the Thunderwave, which is good, but 85 accuracy is pretty bad. So I'm really curious to see how that, develops. And obviously we have Electro Web, Regieleki, which is an amazing form of that as well. Other Icy Wind users could be good. Even the Swampert here, I haven't seen the pace for this team, but I could definitely imagine Icy Wind landing one there. I know there's some really cool things like Flip Turn that Pokemon like that have access to. And
It was
yeah, that's
running
cool.
flip turn earth power, I think.
It was what? Yawn, Earth
Uh
Power.
Flip turn and protect, I'm
Gotcha.
pretty sure.
There
And
was no wide guard?
no, there wasn't. It was a bluff for turn
Okay.
one.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a good idea. I really have been thinking about that too. Just like trying to Skamaz people, not using wide guard.
Mhm.
But I mean that's really a best of one strat, because if you see that call out, then next like game two, it's kind of bad. But honestly, the best of one mindset right now is not a bad idea because we don't have any big events really. You know, we have like Players Cup and stuff, but that's typically best of one until qualifiers are over. So best of
Yeah,
one mindset is not really that bad right now because that's most of what everybody's going to be playing.
yeah. Jumping back to the speed control thing, because I think it's going to be way more important than people are like building for right now. Um, Prankster Thunder is obviously going to be good, but Tail Room I feel is really strong. I had that on my team, Trick Room on Nihilego and Tailwind on Corviknight,
Uh huh.
and it works. The synergy is so good in being able to uh choose which route that you're going with your opponents, and even once you reveal both, you can put both on the field and click both and see which one they taunt
Right.
and
Yeah,
see which one is more important to them.
it's very versatile, which is very good on teams a lot of the time. A lot sometimes like too many options can be bad, but not really on like a competent player, right? Like if you're a competent player bringing two like multiple forms that are drastically different of speed control, which is Tailwind and Trick Room, they're literally the exact opposite. It's pretty interesting to see how the game goes, and Trick Room is very underrepresented here. And same with the second tournament. I mean, we see Stakataka in the second tournament getting second place, which is really good. Actually, a couple of Stakatakas. So we're definitely seeing a little bit more Trick Room open up on the second tournament. How many players was that tournament, by the way, that you played
Um,
in?
this tournament, I don't remember the final number, but I think it ended up being. I can check right now. Uh, I think it ended up being like somewhere around 50 or 60 players signed
Gotcha.
up. Yeah, it ended up being 60 on Battlefy.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm really. Honestly, I'm pretty confused or like astonished that there's no Trick Room really. Obviously, as you were saying, you had it on the Nihilego, but and obviously like the Marowak also kind of shows that you want to use Trick Room. Sometimes. Was it a? Did you use zero speed?
It was super speedy. I think I had 140 plus nature,
Okay,
so
so like a Tailwind
it
calc probably.
yeah, it outspeeds Cartana under Tailwind,
Gotcha.
and so that actually came up multiple times, so it
Mm,
was really important, and also outspeeding Registeel just naturally because they don't usually run speed. I was able to chip it down and win the 1v1, even though they did have flash cannon to deal with the ghost type, but I was able to still win with the 1v1 just because my Marowak's pretty bulky as well.
mm. Yeah, it's very bulky and it does a lot of damage. You were using Thick Lub, right? It was like a
Yeah,
Thick Lub.
for sure.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
never seen one without it.
yeah. I've seen Sash Marowak and Dynamax actually.
Gotcha.
It
Okay.
was
Yeah.
super annoying to remove. It makes sense, I guess. As a I think it's actually a pretty cool set. It was Perish Song Protect, um something else with Sash. I only saw Perish Song and Protect, but it didn't work out for them.
Mm. Pair songs actually. Bringing up pair songs. That's actually an interesting strategy. I'd like to explore a little bit more in this format. The only problem that I've ran into is most pair song users are water type, and I don't really like the water typing right now, just because Rillaboom is on every team, virtually every team.
Yeah, I think I've been playing around with Perish Song because I've used it in the past as well. Primarina is a decent user of it.
Hmm.
Like you said, Rillaboom really hurts it. I
Right.
tried Grassy State Primarina, still gets OHKO'd by Woodhammer. It needs too much investment, so
Hmm.
it wasn't really worth it. But I think like going back to that Marowak idea, it might be kind of cool using Marowak as a Parasong user because obviously you're not going to leave Gothitelle on the field in front of an Urshifu Dark anyway, so it would be for a specific type of team where you get rid of the Urshifu first, but
Hmm.
uh it's definitely
Maybe like a
cool
Xerneas
option.
kind of set.
Yeah, maybe. I've been using Aegislash next to Xerneas now as well. It's super good.
How come?
Left leftovers with Sacred Sword, Shadow Sneak, and King Shield. You're able to Oko Calyrex Shadow with Shadow Sneak, so you don't need Wide Guard or any of that stuff. And having priority in this format is really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sacred Sword lets you 1v1 I think like the majority of the format with like a Sacred Sword, a +2 Sacred Sword into Shadow Sneak with because you have Sword Sense to set up. And like
Mm-hmm.
setting up with that Pokemon is really easy because it's so bulky.
Yeah.
Um and
Yeah,
yeah,
when you Swords Dance, it stays in defense, so it's very, very strong.
you just have to be worried about taunt and parting shot and all of that because
Yeah,
it's
that makes
pretty sad
sense.
that King Shield doesn't block that.
That would be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I feel I get why they didn't do it, but it would definitely feel a little bit better if they did.
Mm-hmm. That Pokemon has been nerfed into the ground like like actually multiple times.
It's still pretty good, which is testament to how good it is.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, Aegislash. That was actually the first video I put on my channel, an Aegislash guide, which is crazy.
Yeah, I love that Pokemon. I'm definitely um trying to figure out how to use it in the next journey.
Mm-hmm. Maybe with the Xerneas. That's also a really good typing core as well.
Just Fairy Steel, and then you just slap the dragon in there, and it's
Right.
fantasy.
There's not really too many good dragon types in this format. I am curious to see if like Dragapult does much this format, but I feel like, I mean, its best thing is fast max airstream. So losing
Mhm.
that, I don't really know what it does. Honestly,
Support with Thunder Wave, I
that is
think
true.
could
Yeah,
be
you could
really
use like
good.
screens and that breaking swipe's a
Mhm.
good option. There's a lot of good. It definitely has like it definitely can stand up, right? Like it can definitely do stuff, which is good.
Regidrago is also something to look out for. I'm looking for
Really?
that to win a tournament soon.
Okay,
Uh,
cool. That would be really cool. I would be pretty excited to see that, to be honest.
because there's no Feeny because Rillaboom is on every team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have so many tools to get rid of fairy types that aren't Feeny, and so nothing shuts it down immediately. And then you can just I think Dragon Energy boosted with Scarf. You definitely have enough tools to make it work in this format.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be really interested to see how that goes. Pokemon like Xerneas can give it a tough time. Same with Zacian if they tech the play rough. I don't really see play rough when Zacian too frequently now. It's usually just like Sacred Sword, Swords Dance, the Steel move, and then like Protect or Sub or something.
Yeah, Hamster Mania VGC did a really good video about why you should never use Play Rough, and like it just talks about like the type effectiveness and like what's in the format and why you should just click Behemoth Blade onto it
Yeah.
anyways. And it's a little bit less relevant with Dynamax because you're not getting the double power,
Mm-hmm.
but so Play Rough might actually be a decent coverage move. But being able to hit Incineroar for super effective versus not is also uh, super important because it's your primary check.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you're hitting neutral after their intimidate as well, or like you go back to neutral stats, and neutral
Mhm.
stats, Sacred Sword should still do a punch.
Yeah,
Especially if you can call out like Swords Dance, first, like get a Swords Dance up. That I mean, Zacian after a Swords Dance can run away with any game, virtually.
yeah, and that's one thing that I also didn't account for with my team was Swords Dance Sassy, and that it did really well. I had to like adapt heavily every single time I ran into it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think all of my mons were meant to live like the initial attack because obviously it's like of having nothing over Zacian's speed. I had to be a little bit more reactive.
Yeah.
Um, so like Corviknight lives a wild charge if it needs to, +1 wild charge if it needs to. Kyogre doesn't, but I have Marowak for that, and it's usually out on the same time and at the same time on the field. Marowak lives a certain amount of Behemoth Blades, so does Kyogre. So I definitely had to play around that, but Swords Dance is a really good option on Zacian because it throws off so many like close combat into Incineroar Calcs or Sacred Sword into Incineroar Calcs, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Zacian is most people's complaints about this format, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. Zacian's a stupid Pokemon. I think ever since like Series 8, everybody realized how stupid Zacian was, and of course it's now it's going to be like the most used restricted Pokemon.
Yeah,
But that's okay.
they literally just took Mawile and made it better,
Yeah,
and I don't know how that's possible.
they they just like went insane with Zacian. They were like, "Hey, what should we make this Pokemon? Oh, let's make it absurd." That's all they did. They just made it a stupid Pokemon. Why is it ability just anti-intimidate, but without being anti-intimidate? It's just like the perfect option.
Mhm.
Like an amazing build around. You can build around it so simply too. Like you don't even have to do anything. You just put on every good Pokemon around it, and just you win. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I
I
honestly, do you think there are any like underrated restricteds?
underrated restricteds. Zygarde. Setup is really good. You just have to watch out for Haze because Haze is always a uh thing against Zygarde.
Mm-hmm.
But like coil breaking swipe is actually an option that I didn't see people running in Series 8, but I ran a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you just wait for them to finish Dynamaxing. You have Thousand Arrows, breaking swipe, coil protect, with next to like a heal pulse Feeny. And I was using Misty Seed because having that special defense, that boost on the special defense side just lets you not get O-code by Calyrex Shadow and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Eveltal is also going to be a good defensive pick. I feel I don't see people running offensive Eveltal in this format.
Yeah. I
Like
mean, seeing like a Tailwind bulky spread is probably pretty optimal, it seems.
yeah, I've run into that a couple of times when testing Calyrex Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Calyrex Shadow I don't think will be as good just because it's so good that it's so good and it has been so good that people will find a way to check it and always have like a dark type on their team.
Yeah. I mean,
And
easily enough, we just have Urshifu on many, many teams, so that's, something to fear.
yeah, I just had Scarf
And
Urshifu on
Incineroar.
my team and I just what's it called? I did my normal game plan, set up Trick Room, sweep with Marowak, and then I've just brought in Scarf Urshifu in the end game and O-coded. Oh, whoops.
Did you just exit out the call?
Yeah, I think I just ended the call by accident. Whoops.
Gotcha. It's all good. It's no worries.
Um, being able to check a restricted with just one Pokemon, just like you can't do that to Zacian, you can't do that to you can do that to Xerneas, but and most of the other ones, but being able to check Calyrex Shadow specifically with just one Pokemon or just one move like Sucker Punch or Shadow Sneak, it doesn't
Yeah,
feel that great.
it's definitely a problem with that Pokemon.
Mhm.
It does have expanding force, which is cool though. We see like a couple of potential size spam kind of things. We see two Indeedys here on these Calyrex. Actually, all three of these Calyrex teams have an Indeedee on the team, which is kind of crazy. I didn't think
Yeah,
size spam would be too good, to be honest, but I mean,
I
on a dual Pokemon like that, you have two different ways. You have expanding force or the crazy ghost move that it has. I forget what it's called.
Astral Barrage, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've run into Shadow Ball a lot recently. People are running it like Xerneas,
Hmm.
which it makes sense because Wide Guard is getting more popular and you still
Yeah.
want to be able to use that ghost move.
Definitely. Yeah, it seems like a single targeting move on most Pokemon that are typically not single targeting. Like even like how you were saying, you put Scald on Kyogre and stuff like that. A lot of players are running like Origin Pulse and Water Spout, me included. That was on the top ogre team that I was playing. I was using both because like usually you can just like play around wide guard to some extent, but
Yeah.
having single targeting attacks is kind of needed. I mean, I had Ice Beam on it, but that's not the same.
Yeah, Ice Beam doesn't hit very hard.
Yeah.
Uh unless you're hitting super effective or into Lando or something.
Hmm. Which is really just there for Rillaboom, but
Yeah.
it hits other things. It's good for like Tornadus, Thunderous, a couple other randos, but pretty good.
Mm.
Scald is definitely good though. I would probably try to run Scald on it in the future.
It's its scald calcs are actually pretty funny. Being able to Oko, I think I Oko'd Celesteal at one point with
Really,
scald.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Kyogre is a menace. That is very true. That is one of the scariest Pokemon in the format. It's funny to see. Actually, whoops. On the second tournament, there's not a single Kyogre. It seems like
yeah,
a lot of players were making adaptations.
yeah. Calyrex Shadow is like, uh, I think that's what you said was winning the last tournament. Um,
Well, it
it's
got
really
second, but it was three of them in the top eight.
oh wow. So yeah, it's with Psychic Surge, it's really good because, like I said, like priority, Shadow Sneak, Sucker Punch is probably
Hmm.
your main way to beat it, especially because it outspeeds everything else. So
Yeah,
like, it makes a lot of sense.
yeah. I would be pretty afraid to bring Calyrex. You definitely have to have those really good checks. I think Stack Attack is a pretty cool one on these teams. My voice just cracked. But the Stack Attack is a pretty cool. It's not really like a check to those things, but it didn't really die to Urshifu. Like it didn't really care. Well, no, close
Yeah,
combat. Yeah, that's bad.
Stack is Stack is super good. You just have to worry about Earth Power like on everything because
Yeah,
most like I've even seen Earth Power Garchomp now because Grassy Surge is everywhere and Intimidate is everywhere. So like
yeah.
uh
Mixed
a lot
attacking
of
Garchomp. That sounds cool.
a lot of people are running that Earth Power and it's such a good move. Like if there were ground types with higher special attacks, like
Hmm.
Lando Eye is really good in this format, I think, as well. I
Yeah,
think with Scarf you can outspeed an Oko Zacian, so that's a really good option as well.
yeah, definitely. Scarf Special Lando could definitely take over. I mean, that was kind of what it did in the past. That was a really big transition for Lando.
Mhm.
In like 2019 and stuff. So I definitely expect that to kind of mimic there. Seeing that a lot. We also have like Gothitelle is a stupid Pokemon, so having like U-turn on Pokemon like that is really good. So U-turn is definitely gonna go, be good this format as well. We already see that
My
on a lot of like Rillabooms and stuff.
my introduction to this format was actually seeing Joe going up against Sierra with using Gothitelle defense, like a trapping team,
Hmm.
and it was his set was fake out sub protects hypnosis with Sash. So you always trapped your opponent for 2 turns, and
Yeah,
then with hypnosis and sub, you're like just sitting on the field, and it was super funny to watch. It was probably not fun to play
it's
if you're Sierra,
incredibly frustrating, I imagine.
that type of stuff also looks good. Like just golf gives you so many options, and it gives you so much more control over your opponent. So definitely looking forward to seeing more of that.
Yeah, Gothitelle is pretty dumb. The first team I was putting together was Gothitelle Azumarill trying to do some parish trapping stuff, and
Oh, that's probably really strong because you don't have to worry about Rillaboom if you're running Sapsipper, and also Azumarill is pretty bulky if you run it bulky.
yeah, my first attempt at it was just like huge power punch him a lot and like belly drum, because like belly drum citrus berry is like really cool. My favorite way to play Azumarill typically, but yeah, definitely like sap sipper with uh a bulky build could definitely be really really good in the format, obviously. And then I was like just strapping on Zacian just because like it just works. You don't have to have any synergy. You just slap on Zacian sometimes.
Mhm. Zacian plus speed control is just uh yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, it's incredibly powerful. Well,
So
do you think anything else you want to talk about in the format?
Scarf Zapdos, like regular Zapdos, I've been using it like a little bit now, and it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um just like listing out some regular mons that like not legends that I think will be good.
Mm-hmm.
Dracovish,
Dracovish
uh
could definitely be good. I mean, Dracovish will be. It's an eternal Pokemon. It'll be in every format now,
yeah,
or like any game that it's in.
Ludicolo. yeah, Ludicolo having that fake out and water grass typing is like really good defensively.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Kyogre Ludicolo is something a lot of people are pretty excited to play.
Eeks just won a tournament with Nidoking. I started using it afterwards, and it's super good as well. You just
Hmm.
need speed control, like either Tailwind or Trick Room.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, its speed leaves a little bit back, leaves a little to be desired. But I mean, we were talking
Yeah,
about how good Earth Power is earlier. You know, Nidoking. Were you running it like specially?
yeah, especially Nidoking.
Hmm. That's how I mean, that's how I would figure it would be this format. What else does it bring to the table? I mean, obviously you have like, I guess Sludge Bomb. That what did you run, like Choice Scarf or something?
Life Orb.
Okay.
Life Orb sheer force is like is super good if you have any sort of speed control. I think I was running
Hmm.
Aegislash, Yveltal, Nidoking, uh, Volcarona, Rillaboom, and Stack. So like it had a little bit of problems with waters, so I sorry, not with waters, with rock types. So added Nidoking last minute because it
Hmm.
helps with fairies as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's it's honestly it's probably a very good option for Xerneas, like again up against Xerneas as well, like with the Sludge Bomb.
Yeah, it does a lot of damage.
Is
Uh,
Sludge Bomb the correct attack? It hits your force?
uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
yeah,
yeah. It hits that
yeah.
poison.
Yeah. It doesn't. Uh, One thing that I always keep forgetting: the Sheer Force Mons, Lando Eye, and Nidoking. I kept expecting them, like in practice, to poison
Yeah.
CERN,
Yeah,
and they
hoping for
just
that.
never did. Yeah. It's just
Right.
something to remember because I definitely didn't. P2 I don't think will be good. That's my hot take as
Oh,
well.
really? How
Yeah,
come?
it feels super underwhelming. Fighting is such a good typing now.
Mhm.
There's no max airstream to OHKO it, so uh P2 definitely has a lot more competition uh in Trick Room setters.
Mhm.
Dusclops is I think a lot better. You can just EV it to live Urshifu Wicked Blow, and it's not even necessary because you have Fake Out and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And the other Mon is probably not going to be able to OHKO Dusclops, so just Fake Out is super good next to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Dusclops is very strong. I mean, even it has things like Haze as well. Very good. Um, you know, just moves.
Yeah, Haze, Will-O-Wisp, Bulldoze next to a flying type. It's definitely gonna be pretty good.
Mhm. Amoonguss is good for Trick Room as well. I mean, just in
Yeah,
general, but you know, Trick Room Amoonguss can be a win count on its own sometimes. Spore, stupid.
Among Us is a lot better. Instant Among Us has always been like a really good lead into everything, but
Right.
Instant Among Us looks really strong now because you have Intimidate, you have like Zapdos Galar is probably a pretty good check to it, but
Hmm.
uh that Among Us it just stays on the field and with mental you can even afford to run mental orb because you don't need Koba.
Yeah, that's very true. You don't need I mean, you could like go Mental Herb. You could go Sash. There's a couple of options. Maybe for like specific calcs, you can use something like Okaberry or something. You know, like maybe if you want to live like +1 Volk. I don't even know if you could live normal Volk, but
Quiver Dance Volk is something that I haven't run into yet, and I hope I never do
yeah,
because
it's pretty
that
scary.
thing, yeah, definitely. And
Hmm.
most of the flying types are that at least that I've been running, other than Scarf Zapdos, are physical.
Hmm.
So you have to worry about that burn, and that's I think the main problem with removing it is that most of the water types, most of the physical moves are contact moves. So it's really a pain to get rid of.
Right. It's funny because Flame Body's actually good sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was on the top ogre team that I was playing. It also you know features top moth, and that was a big thing of the top moth was quiver dance. You know that's like a big piece of it for Hitmontop. You get to you know fake out, essentially setting up the quiver dance really easily a lot of the time. But fake out, I mean you have to run for tech. Like that's why I was using Mystic Water Kyogre instead of like just Scarf. protect. Yeah, you fake out stupid.
Yeah, definitely protect on. You're gonna want protect on your water types.
Hmm.
There's a lucky. I haven't even mentioned that, and
Yeah,
I
right.
think it's a lot worth mentioning. A lot. Um, it
Yeah.
just opens so many things, and I'm so really surprised I haven't seen any rising voltage lucky
Hmm.
because, like, uh, like some of the teams that have topped the ladder in the Dynamax format have just had rising voltage lucky plus Blizzard spam, and that looks really strong here. Like being able to Oko some of these defensive Pokemon with
Hmm.
rising voltage, and then leaving it open to Vanillux or something to just spam Blizzard against their ground types. Just it looks really good. I know
Yeah,
Ice
that
types
sounds
and
cool.
Electric types are like and Lucky is like not that great defensively, but there's you can definitely make it work.
Yeah, I mean, Lucky's a dumb Pokemon. Electro Web is amazing as well. You have even like Thunder Cage could be good here with the trapping. I think that's what it does, right? Thunder Cage traps.
Yeah, we haven't seen that move be useful
Yeah,
ever,
I've
so
never used it, but if
hopefully
like
it
it could be
becomes
cool.
yeah, definitely
Taking back to like the rising voltage, I guess you could see like Coco like electric spam stuff, but um, I probably wouldn't because like you can't set it up by Dynamaxing anymore. We can't just like Dynamax to set the train.
yeah,
So,
it's definitely harder to keep up, but
mhm,
it does so much damage that I feel like it's worth the positioning. And there's a lot of positioning tools that you have, like U-turn, Volt Switch,
mhm,
uh, and all of that. And yeah, it's definitely like a linear strategy, just like side spam or like anything like that, where you're spamming the same type of move.
yeah,
There are immunities and resists that you have to worry about, but it's definitely very potent if they don't have anything that resists it.
yeah, definitely makes sense.
Um, Spectre, I feel is like it's good. Sorry, it's really good because as long as you have a good Calyrex Shadow matchup, Dragapult can't max Phantasm you anymore. And unless they're special, which your special side is a little bit better, you might be able to take a hit on the special side if you're trained properly. Um, it's not hitting you on the physical side and OHKOing you anymore. Support Spectre looks a lot better, even offensive Spectre as well.
Hmm. Snarl is a really strong attack this format. You have things like Xerneas, you have things like the Volcarona, um, Regieleki, a lot of good special attackers, Kyogre. So Snarl bulldoze stuff on well bulldoze probably less because that was usually just like to self proc weakness policy, but Spectre definitely could come up like that, and just like Shadow Ball is good.
Yeah, Shadow Ball is does a lot of damage, and you you have so many like okay in a lot of the matches it came down like I was talking about before it came down to chip like just switching with U-turn or like full switch and like chipping into that Pokemon that you wanted to get rid of
Hmm.
and like keep baiting it out with the right Pokemon and just because a lot of Pokemon are so powerful that they need to bring out that Pokemon to deal with it so you just chip them down until they're gone um that's a lot more relevant and like moves moves like moves like that help a lot.
Yeah, definitely like on the chip thing, like I feel like most of the time in 2020, 2021 format with Dynamax, uh, if you weren't taking like Okos, it kind of felt like you were behind because then if your opponent could like Dynamax and take Okos, then it was really bad. But now we're not really in this Oko format. We're in like a defensive format, which feels weird because like, you see Dynamax format and you're like, oh, well, that guy lives forever. So, but it also like does so much damage that you just like take Okos on non-Dynamax things. So I feel like, more so in Dynamax format, like Oko is really a thing. But like we almost never Oko Pokemon, except like things like Kyogre and Xerneas after like boosts or Volcarona after boosts. Like you really need to boost things to do that. So I think things like Intimidate and Snarl and stuff is huge. And screens is actually something I haven't seen explored yet in this format really. Out of purely out of results and testing, I very very rarely actually run into screens, and I think that's kind of weird.
Um, Screens. I feel like screens is harder to set up. That's the only thing. Like just fake out. Fake out
Yeah.
is a big problem.
Right. You can't get
And
it up like turn one. Fake out's
yeah, like
incredible.
even in Rillaboom Instant, which is like really just everywhere. You can fake out with Instant, grassy glide or wood hammer, and that group song is gone. And you can just grassy glide the next turn and it's gone.
Yeah.
So uh setting up screens is a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely better screen setters to deal with those two. None are coming to mind immediately, but uh definitely screens is probably. Oh, I've seen a screens Eternatus team. That's the only screens team that I've seen.
Screens
Uh,
what? Tornadoes?
Each Eternatus, yeah. Eternatus is
Eternatus. Yeah,
really
yeah.
good. Yeah, sorry, Eternatus. It's a really good setup mon. I've had some problems with it. Uh,
With like meteor
Definitely
beam.
it's just flamethrower, sludge bomb, uh, what's its moves? Cosmic power and
Mm,
recover.
yeah. Oh, it gets recovered. That's crazy. I didn't even think
Yeah,
about that.
I didn't
Eternatus is
know it
a
got recover either.
gotcha. Yeah, Eternatus is a Pokemon a lot of players are hyping up for sure right now. I saw like some dude on this Facebook made a tier list and he put Zacian in tier A and then Eternatus in tier S, and I was like, all right, yeah, A tier, Zacian, yeah, but I mean, yeah, a lot of players are really hyping up Eternatus, and I think that's kind of interesting because its big thing is it kills Dynamaxes, but uh, it also is just incredibly fast. It has an insane special attack and has a really good move pool and typing. So it is a great Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure. The defensive typing is a big one because no, like they gave us fairies to deal with dragon types, and that just doesn't work with Xerneas. So
Right. It
I
just
hope
doesn't
that's a
care.
big. It's a big part of what it does.
Hmm. Yeah, there's not too much that just like deals with it very well. We do have well, what even I don't even know. Like Kyogre can just like probably sheer force its way through. Um, but same with I
Not
mean
even
it's
with
weird.
cosmic power. Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
cosmic power, black sludge. At least the bulky cover black sludge cosmic power set.
Hmm.
Uh, the Kyogre can't even do anything except for hope for a freeze.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's like good luck.
Yeah.
Hayes could definitely be really strong in this format. I think with Swords Dance Zacian, the Xerneas, Volcarona, Cosmic
Mhm.
Power, Eternatus. It seems like it's really really strong against a lot of these Pokemon. So I think things like Dusclops coming back into the meta for your Trick Room user using things like Haze. What else even gets Haze that's that strong? Like Tapu Fini gets Haze, I think.
Yeah,
Some other stuff
it's
gets
a
Haze for sure.
pretty good defensive option.
Yeah.
Uh, Hayes Feeney is always a nightmare for a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
Especially a lot of teams that I've built. Blastoise gets it. Dusclops is probably the best user of it. Spectre also, like now that it doesn't have to run Bulldoze, could run it, I
I was
guess.
about to say Calyrex Shadow gets it as well, which is really good.
Mhm. Uh, Trick Room Calyrex Shadow is something that I've I've run into Sash Calyrex Shadow, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that I would see Trick Room.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's not the best Trick Room center because you do want to be like clicking the ghost button every
Yeah.
single
You just want to be
turn with
punching.
that. Yeah, but definitely if you need to like play around a tailwind team and like or speed ties or something like that, and you that's your only option. It's a good option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like
Uh,
like you were saying before, if you can deal with those Pokemon like Urshifu beforehand and then pull out the Calyrex, it can be pretty hard to deal with. And speed is a big piece of it. Like if you can outspeed it, you can probably just punch it a couple times. It's not super bulky, but like if they just you set up Tailwind or something and they just say Trick Room right in your face, it can be that definitely seems like it could be difficult to deal with. It's like kind of how like Nihilego used to be with running Trick Room as a tech, but it's actually an incredibly fast Pokemon.
yeah, not Nihilego was super good, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned it yet. But
Mm,
if you can get rid of those steel types, it actually like it does super well, that to the point where you can like call switches.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just like, if you look at some of these teams, like Rock has always been an offensive typing. That's why Colossal's so good, and all of these Rock Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
have done so well.
R.I.P.
But
Colossal.
like, yeah, I saw the I saw the I don't know if I can find it again, but I saw this tweet about Colossal players adapting, and it was super funny. I think it's Persephone Cole, uh, with Explosion Cole and stuff like that. It's
All right.
they're definitely still trying.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think it became a lot of players like go to for teams and stuff like for players cups and stuff like that. I mean, it won back to back. I think 3 times in a row, players cups. So that's it has
Spoiler
something to
alert.
show.
Yeah. Um. Uh. Yeah. So like Nihi, Suicune, I also feel like they combine Suicune because it doesn't have that much immediate. Uh.
Hmm.
All the dogs will be good. Not so maybe Raikou. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it
haven't
seems like
seen
there's
it.
better electric types.
Yeah. Aleki is just like Aleki outclasses a lot of electric types. You either
Hmm.
have to have a secondary typing or like a specific move that
Right.
puts you in contention with it.
Yeah, if you just want to like punch people with electric type moves, and you can't really beat Regieleki.
Mhm. It's always a solid option.
Hmm. But yeah, going back to Suicune, I was thinking about Suicune as well. I think Suicune is definitely solid. Bulky Tailwind users are very good. You obviously have the water thing right now with Rillaboom and Regieleki everywhere. It's going to be kind of hard. But if you can set it up correctly, Calm Mind can definitely deal with a Regieleki for sure. And you'll still have to worry about Rillaboom, but Suicune's like fairly bulky on its own, so that's not bad.
Yeah, you can definitely EV. Just the fact that you can EV it to live Rillaboom's moves is good enough for me. Like
Hmm.
you can't do that with most other water types
Yeah.
or anything that's weak to Rillaboom really.
Can you EV it to live through Choice Band? Do you know? I don't think Choice Band's
Oh
gonna be big on the Rillaboom though.
yeah, being able to either protect or pivot is really I feel like it's going to be really
Yeah,
important
you don't
because
want to like click Fake Out and then have to switch. That's a big feels bad.
yeah. Oh yeah, and if people find out your like if your opponent finds out your choice band, they can abuse that.
Hmm.
Whereas like with uh with a assault vest set, you can just switch out if their Rillaboom wall comes in or and reset intimidate or something like that.
Hmm.
There's so many other options.
I've been thinking about putting speed on these kind of Pokemon recently. Like actually like maybe not like a lot of speed on like Rillaboom, but being able to outspeed your opponent's Fake Out every time is kind of insane. And a lot of time how like speed develops in a format is pretty weird. To say the least. Like you have Rillaboom and then you're like, I want to put on a little speed, and then once you do well in a tournament, or a lot of people start using it with some speed, you have to put more, and then you play against a Kyogre and they OHKO you with Ice Beam, and you're like, oh, I got to take away a little bit of speed.
Yeah, the speed is actually something that I meant to talk about because the speed ties on Rillaboom and like all of the speed stuff were uh super weird in this tournament. I think I don't remember which team it was, but one of the teams was running one speed point lower than normal speed Rillaboom, so that they always get their terrain up, which is smart. It's actually really smart, and they already had a faster fake out user. I forget what it was. This was in Swiss. They already had a faster fake out user, so it made a lot of sense. Just if you need to lead Rillaboom into size spam or something like that to prevent it from sweeping your team, then it's a pretty good option.
Hmm. Yeah, speed is gonna be pretty dynamic. I put a lot of speed on my top. 204 speed, a lot of speed. I just wanted like Fake Out to like work, and if you like lead top ogre, and then you go like Fake Out into their Rillaboom, and like can guarantee that happens before their Fake Out or their Grassy Glide, you're like running away with the game, like right off of rip. They think they're safe behind their Rillaboom, but they're not.
Yeah. Um, I think you were talking about cut guard earlier. Serena on Tornogre teams
Hmm.
has like I've seen it a lot of times now, to the point where I feel like it could actually be archetype,
Hmm.
just
Yeah, I
because
was running into Serena with Kyogre a lot, and or multiple times, maybe not like a lot, but every time it comes up, I'm like, this is pretty smart.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And like a lucky Kyogre, those are the things that you want to be hitting with priority because
Hmm.
otherwise they just run away with the game and you can't. So Serena's definitely a good option. I've seen low sweep Serena for speed control,
Hmm.
just so that like because you can't have Tornadus and Serena on this field at the same time, you have that speed control option. So it's pretty cool and it's a pretty good option.
Yeah. Well, I'd say we're getting pretty close. It's almost an hour already. So do you have any last thoughts? Maybe like a couple more minutes
Um,
or anything.
uh, put Nihilego on your team. That's
Fair
that's
enough.
my only last thought. Power Gem, Sludge Bomb, Trickery and Protect.
Hmm.
It's a really solid set. Uh, Volcarona, I feel like it's gonna be super good, and
Hmm.
I think that's it.
Yeah, Top Moth. I mean, that was my first idea. That was the first thing that I went to because I mean, Top Moth used to be nuts. So I was kind of just like, well, this is crazy. We still have things like Lando with Rock Slide and stuff. So, usually some of the only rock type moves in circulation is that Rock Slide. So like Wide Guard next to Volcarona is pretty stupid. But yeah, like you were saying, Nihilego gets Power Gem. Like that's an instant out for that, which is really really strong. If you can call out that Wide Guard, you just eat it. You just eat the guy. It's crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, it still has Sash most likely, but still, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've been pretty hyped for Series 10. I kind of took a break for a little while. I wasn't really playing much in Series 9 just because it felt like a rehash of Series 7. But then Series 10 came along and it was like no Dynamax. I'm like, whoa.
yeah. It's a fresh perspective, and I hope your viewers like this really. I guess it's like a super in depth guide.
Yeah, it's long. Hopefully,
Yeah,
we got some people on their way home from work. They got a long commute. There's not even really any visuals.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's something you watch for the long haul for sure. But this
Mhm,
is something I've been wanting to do on the channel for a while, like hour-long videos with other people. So yeah,
mhm.
if you're interested in doing this again, we'll definitely, talk about it and we'll do it again sometime for sure.
Yeah, I definitely need some more experience with Series 10 because this is like the very start, and things are already developing
Hmm.
super quickly, and we don't even have it on the ladder yet. So like,
Yeah.
um, it's uh, I'll be back when I top get my next tournament.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Next time you top, I'll get you on for that, and we can do like a, more of an in-depth thing, maybe about your team and stuff. I know you've been doing YouTube though, so maybe you'll want to do that for your channel. We'll see, but
Yeah,
however it
for
works
sure.
out, however it works out.
Mhm. I've been doing some course videos, so I would definitely want to get some input from you on
Mm,
course that you think are pretty good. We can maybe do that as a series.
yeah, I'd be down for that. I've been doing. We've been slowing down a little on the channel, but I'm trying to pick it back up a little bit more here, especially with Series 10 around the horizon.
Such
Yeah.
a good opportunity for YouTube.
Hmm. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna end the video. Um, So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. If you did like this kind of content, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and tell me in the comments that you like this content because I'll do it more. Long videos where we just talk. It's pretty unedited content and stuff. So, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Have a great week. Goodbye.